safe so they can be played on another day. Rob's Arcade.
It's like the perfect little like intro for that. I always love that. I love my Christmas tree too. My Christmas tree looks so beautiful. Look at that. Gorgeous. Still haven't opened any of my presents. They should do that. Like, I gotta log into my, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do too many. Here we go. Yeah, like Fortnite. I need to log into that actually, because they got like that Winterfest going on. And you get gifts. And they should do the same. Like every day you can go to your Christmas tree and open up a gift and you get like clothes or new weapons or maybe some liveries for your vehicles or something. Anyway, welcome back to Rob's Arcade, you guys. Hope you had a wonderful 2025 as we wrap up this year and jump into 2026, which is crazy to me because it feels like such a, you know, hold on one second here. Glitching a little bit. Oh, hello, Roger, Roger, 10-4, 10-4. Hello. Okay, there we go. All right, my microphone, I could hear the static a little bit, so I do little adjustments there. But yeah, it's crazy to me. Like, the year 2030 is now only 4 years away, and that is totally a science fiction year. Like that is a pop in a VCR cassette, credits roll, the year 2030. It's like out in space or something, or some kind of crazy Road Warriors setting. But yeah, it's only 4 years away, man. Here we are. We're kind of like we are in the midst of coming into the future. Been having a lot of hilarious conversations about that lately. How we're just kind of like still, um, we're in this weird space of we're living in the future. Um, I'm gonna set everything down, so maybe if I don't touch everything, there won't be. I can hear like static in my headset uh, when I'm like walking around. So maybe if I just sit down and talk to you guys. But yeah, it's just so funny to me. Like we live in this era of still doing things like I don't know, like even like driving to work every day. Like that just to me is such a 1920s, 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Like we've been doing. Why are we driving to work? We have these things now like Ubers and Lyfts and tax. I feel like we shouldn't be driving anymore. Like we should just, Amazon delivers groceries. Um, and not to say like you can't go grocery shopping, but I think there should be like a service. It's like a service will come pick you up. Think about the hassle and the stress that comes with, and like I'm so fortunate. Like, a lot of times I can just like walk to work um, and things like that. But there have been times where like, I have taken a lift somewhere. I've done that to like go run errands in the past. And there's something about it, like it's almost like a treat. And I've done it time to time. And like I'll go grocery shopping. I go do what I have to go do. If I want to go grab a sandwich from somewhere, like whatever, I'll go do it. But there is something kind of like relaxing about that. Like you are, I don't know, man. It's like that Home Alone 2 moment. You got that limousine pull up and just like takes you where you need to go, and it's very relaxing, very stress free. Excuse me, stress free. I've done it before for like a trip for work. Sometimes like going either having to like drive to be picked up somewhere or having to go to like a meeting or something that's kind of important, and it's just like, oh man, I just like that's downtown. Parking might be weird. It's like I don't want to deal with that. Like I don't want to stress myself out before those situations. So I don't know. It's just I feel like we're in a time where like why not take more advantage of the things that we have, and it's just I don't know. I feel like we're in a very interesting time where we're in the future, but we're still doing a lot of things we used to do in the past. Um, And it's just kind of like you watch these science fiction movies, and it's kind of like at some point they figured it out. Like, yeah, why are we doing these things? Like, we shouldn't have to do this. Technology has allowed us certain freedoms, and we just don't really take advantage of how to do that. I'm still surprised when, and again, I get this, but I'll see something like maybe on Facebook where it's more of a question to the mass populace of like, how do I get this done, or where do I find this, or what? It's like just type that actually into like Google, or like your maps on your phone or something like actually use. And I've made this comment before too, but actually like use the search engines for what they're for. Post about your weekend plans and some photos from the holidays, but type those questions and those things. And I get it too. People want to like ask their friends and family, like, well, what do you think? Do you know anybody? Do you have anything? Um, which is totally like, of course, like, maybe you're trying to save some money. Like, does anybody know a good plumber? Like that, that's one thing. But like those questions of like, man, you guys, I'm looking to get like a fence built and I'm not even sure where to go online and look up, fences. Like you're looking at the wrong place. Um, but it's been a fun year for me. I've had a blast, especially um, with my work, my career. Another promotion this year. You guys have been following my channel. There was some kind of like, I don't want to say turmoil, but definitely some um, uncertainty um, with the work, and there has been a little bit of turmoil and a little bit of confusion, a little bit of frustration with some of the things going on. A lot of positions moving around, a lot of positions changing name and duties and all of those things. But um, all in all, super fortunate. Still have a job, still have a career, and I've been pretty well regarded um, so far. A lot of stuff I still do need to tighten up. It's very interesting going from dealing with working with like the youth, teens, that sort of thing, to then having like adults, um, which you would think it's a very different, but a lot of it is the same. Like, I think it's just like human nature. It's just like people will sometimes, what can I get away with, and what is the least amount that I have to do in order to get by throughout the day, whether they're teens or adults, seems to be a common thread. But going into 2026, we're gonna ratchet up a few things, tighten a few screws, and really lock a few things down. Looking forward to crafting what I like to come to call my lighting the cigar email. Very silly reference, but of course all my references have something to do with comic books or Star Wars or something like that. But I've been looking for a way to kind of incorporate this since I've stepped into my role, and it's been like we've made it all the way through fall now, um, and there's still like even some confusion on when people are calling out, like, well, who do I call, who do I talk to? I remember I was in my new position for about a month, and one of our staff was like, so like, what do you do now? And I'm like, well, I'm the membership director. He's like, oh, okay. And it was kind of funny because he's technically my staff. Like he reports to me, and it was kind of like he'd been working alongside me for about a month or so, and was like, yeah, dude, like, yeah, no, I'm the director here. I'm the lead, and it was just I don't know. I guess he thought I was just like hanging out, chilling. Oh, is that why you're? So, oh, that's your office now? And it's like, yeah, dude, that's my office now. So there has been a little bit of confusion on even like what my role is, what I'm doing. And like I said, it's been across the board. There's been a lot of it, um, not just with myself, but like with others. And so there's been talk and um, trying to figure out like how to craft communication or an email to everybody, just kind of let them know. And I've been calling it my like lighting the cigar email, if you will, because there's a great story and a great moment with Kingpin from the Spider-Man Daredevil comic books, where Frank Miller had taken over doing this book, Daredevil. I think up until that point, maybe John Romita had been doing the character. I can't quite remember who was been doing it before, but it had a style and it had a look that Frank Miller was trying to, craft into his own, and he wasn't really sure how to do it. And I believe it was Jim Shooter, who was like the editor at the time at Marvel Comics, said have him light a cigar. And he was Frank Miller's kind of like, have him light a cigar. He's like, what does that mean? He's like, just have him light a cigar, and with that match, the lighting will change, you know. And once that lighting changes, you can then change the character how you wanted him to be perceived after that match goes out. And I just thought that was such a beautiful piece, like such a great idea, and he did it. He did it exactly that way. And if you look, there is a moment in a certain issue of Daredevil, once Frank Miller took over, where Kingpin lights this cigar, and it does. It casts this shadow, and it lights his brow, and it lights his facial features in a certain way. And when that match goes out, that lighting changes. Like they find that space in the shadows that the Kingpin hadn't quite sat back in before. And it did. It changed the character. And so that is my idea of like, so how do I do that in an email? How do I craft an email that once it goes out, it's kind of like, okay, Robert's now the guy in charge. He's who we go to. He's the one. Da 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 da. But I'm excited for 2026 as far as work goes. It's been a pretty successful, like I said, 2025. The feedback's been really good, and it's been a really rewarding year too. I've gotten a lot of cool moments to look back on, some really cool things that I've gotten a chance to kind of set up that might even take hold in 2026. I've been looking to include more of a program for those who have, like, physical disabilities or limitations, as far as like, some of the programs and stuff that we offer. There's space, not always, like we have gentlemen who come in and play like basketball in wheelchairs and stuff like that, but they're just coming in to shoot around, and you know, um, they'll work out and stuff like. But we don't have any program necessarily for them. Like if it came down to, like, let's say, I don't know, like we have a basketball league for youth, but there's no, like, what about like a wheelchair basketball or practice or something like that? So that's something that um, something that I've been looking forward to trying to bring into the workspace, and I think that may kick off. But again, just being able to do some things with like the Autism Society, uh, working with different, like, just community partners, doing some podcast stuff. Uh, Again, I look back on, the commercial that I was able to do this year. I was on the cover of a magazine. Um, it's just been a really cool, you know, fun year. Uh, and yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what we can tackle, what we can do better in um, in 2026. I would love to hear some highlights or some, like, things that have stood out from you guys. I know I tell you guys all the time to leave comments. I feel like I never get enough or very many or any at all. But I'd love to hear some, like, your highlights, man. Like some of the things that, like, stuck out. Some of the things that really, if you had like a top five or whatever, throw some things down in the comments. Make sure you go ahead and like, share, subscribe, all that jazz while you're doing that. It's crazy to look back to it, how many videos we're now at. We're just, cranking them away. I think it used to be like in the triple digits. Now we're in the fours here, in the thousands, which is crazy. I go back and I scroll back and look through just all the videos that we've been able to do. But there have been some fun ones this year, some really cool um, gaming moments here on Rob's Arcade, some really cool highlights. Um, I'm looking forward to really this year. Like I didn't, so we didn't really touch on Christmas. I hope everybody had like a really great Christmas. I want to share this story. This is really fun because I didn't really do much. Like we had a really low key Christmas. I got I think one of the highlights and the biggest gifts that really stands out for me is my Nintendo Lego Game Boy. Super fun build, and I really enjoyed that. But for me, like I really like this year, I want to go and finish out all the games that I've gotten for Christmas in the past that I've never taken the chance to finish. I think there's like four games specifically that I've gotten for the holidays that I know of. And I want to go through and finish those before I accumulate any more games. But then also kind of like you know I don't know how did I look at it? Um, Kind of like a Christmas past that you owe it to this Christmas past to like finish it out. You know, I was watching 8-Bit Christmas over the holidays. Great movie, really fun. And it took me back to like those gaming days when I was a kid, and you would just like really try to like crank out a game and finish it. Now I feel like it's part of I think the world we live in where you have this like scrolling capability, and there's so many titles available on your store and so many free downloads and trials that like it's easy to skip around. Even with those classic game collections for Sega where you have like the 50 games in one, it's really hard just to sit back and just crank out one game and finish it, because you get bored. Like, let me just scroll through and see what else you can play for like 15 minutes. So there's just like, I think this scroll mentality with TV streaming, with everything that we do, and I want to focus back in 2026 and just kind of sit down and like really look back at the gaming style of youth and be like, all right, we're going to put this title in, and we are going to finish it. We're not going to return this game to the rental store until we have finished this game. So um, that's kind of almost like a New Year's resolution, like a Christmas gift to myself and a New Year's resolution, kind of all in one. Just finish out all your Christmas games that you've never. Some of them I've barely cracked open, like which is crazy. It's like these games that's like, oh, this is amazing. Guardians of the Galaxy, like I have never really I don't even think I've played more than 10 minutes of it. Just enough to explore the bedroom and listen to music. Like that's really all I've done. I think once I've gotten on the ship, I've just gotten bored. I'm like, oh, let me go do something else. Super crazy, super ridiculous. I need to finish that game out. Um, but really, like speaking of games, like my big Christmas wish, and this has been like my favorite story to tell. And I shared it a couple times at work over the weekend, and everyone's like, dude, that's an awesome story. That's insane. Um, but honestly, the only thing I really wanted for Christmas, and I had this conversation with a few people, and after I followed up with the second piece, they would be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, no, I remember you saying that. I remember you saying that." So, in just conversations leading up to Christmas, um, I had said a couple times to a few different people that I didn't want anything for Christmas other than my cousin getting a new game system, and everybody was like, "Wow, that's pretty." It was like that Full House Family Matters moment. Like, I don't want anything. I just want DJ to whatever. So it was honest. Like I mean, like I really like I thought about it, and my cousin does so much. He's such an awesome dude. Um, he just him and his wife just brought another baby into the world. So they're got a cool little family going on, and uh, he really does a lot for them. And doesn't ask for like really anything. Um, and there's I think just dealing with youth and families and stuff so much, I see just how big of assholes guys can be. Like moms really run the household, dads really just take a back seat to the whole thing. But I don't know. I feel like my cousin, like he's if he's not in the driver's seat, man, he's right up front. He really, like I said, he goes above and beyond, man. And I just felt like he deserves some time to himself. Just to be able to play, and not even selfishly for like, oh, so we can play Madden together, Fortnite together, or so we can do. I mean, those times are great, and that's just something that was definitely like I'm gonna like um, miss having those moments. And I'll get into like why would you miss those moments? But it was really just because like I felt like God, dude, this he loves his Madden. There's certain things that he just loves to play. Like I said, he's got a couple of kids now. It'd be great if he could like download some old school 16-bit games, like let them get a feel for video games and all that. Um, but his system, like God, he's got a four. He had a four before I had a four. I've got a five now, and I just felt like the dude's been way overdue. Like he should have been on that five train, and um, it just it hadn't happened. And coming up soon, the PS4 is going to stop doing updates. Going into 2026. Speaking of this new year, that's one of the things that's going to change. They're going to start getting away from the support on the five or the four and start just really focusing on the five. I'm sure the six will be right around the corner. And there's things like new GTA. Um, Madden came out this year, and he wasn't able to get that on the system because it didn't come out for the four. So there's just been a lot of stuff. I'm just like, dude, you need to have this happen. But how do you do that? You got two kids, like I said, and all these bills and expenses. You can't just go run out and buy a new game system. Um, but I was just like really hoping that something would happen and he'd be able to get one, or and then as I started looking into it, I was like, I was like, well, your in-law should get you one. Like, you just gave him another grandbaby. Like, if they loved you, like, I was making jokes about it, but kind of being serious too. Like, if they loved you, they would do this for you. They know you love Madden. If they cared about you, they would do this for you. Um, but as we were talking about it and like kind of looking at what their Christmas looks like they don't do these big, huge crisp like they do Secret Santa. So it was literally, how do you with a cap on the price? So how do you do that, in that kind of situation? So I was just like, man, I don't know if this kid's gonna be able to get one. And I was super sad, but like that was literally all I wanted, like, dear Santa, all I want for Christmas is for my cousin to get a new PlayStation. And I don't want anything for myself, and seriously, like I was talking with a guy at work about it too, and he was just like, wow, that's pretty awesome. I was like, yeah, I don't think he'll get one, but I was like, that's what I want. Well, I'll be damned if he didn't message me on Christmas Day telling me that he got a brand new Xbox. And I couldn't believe it. I thought he was fucking with me. And he wound up, sending me a picture of it. And I was on the floor. Like, I was just like, well, not literally, but, like my jaw was. I was just kind of like beside myself. My eyes started stinging. I teared up a little bit, just because I couldn't believe it had happened. And there was this moment of like, I was so happy for him that he got it. All those things. Like I was thinking, like, oh my gosh, the Madden and the GTA and all these things, and we can continue to play Fort together. And I was just like, oh my god, this is so cool. And but then also too, I was like, oh my god, almost like my Christmas wish came true. Like I started to believe in Santa again. It was like really bizarre. I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like, you know. And then he was like, well, you won't believe how. Like when we started to go into the how of it, that too was like, it's not just, oh, they just went out and got one. Because again, it's like it's a Secret Santa situation. So like, how do you do a Secret Santa and everybody like, goes around and gives everybody their gifts, and then all of a sudden like they just pull out a special thing for him, and I'm like, how does this happen? and he wound up getting it from one of his in-laws, and it was one of his wife's sisters. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how did she afford a new Xbox? And I was so confused. And he was confused, and he sent me the video of him opening it, and it was like very like, what? Like, how did you like? Hold on. One, is this for real? And then two, how did you like what? And so he wound up explaining it was like a weird, just all these things kind of fell into place situation where like she has a friend who has a dad who like worked for Amazon and somehow they got a hold of one, and then she got it to give to him, but only if she got him for Secret Santa, and like just all these little bits and pieces. And I started thinking about like, oh my God, like all the little things that led up to this happening literally made it even feel more like a miracle. And as he's like sharing the video of him opening and the story along with it, I found myself tearing up again. I was like, oh my God, this is truly like a Christmas miracle. Like all out of all of the odds, you know, of if any of this happening, it's just so slim, but it did. And yeah, I don't know. I was just super excited, super happy. I couldn't believe it. Um, and again, like I said, it was just a simple little thing, but it made me once again kind of believe in that Christmas magic. Like well, anything is possible. Anything that can and will happen will. Anything that can, anything that well, anything can happen. Well, here's wishing that anything can happen for you in 2026. Um, I don't know if this is going to be a welcoming the New Year Day video or like a New Year's Eve going out. But at any rate, whatever you're doing, please be safe out there. Um, make smart decisions. Think about others as you're out enjoying yourself. Make sure you get home safe. Make sure you enjoy this new year and take this time to make that decision to be a better person, to carry on that holiday cheer. Um, sometimes I go on these, like I said, these work trips, and I get supercharged, and it's up to me to carry that energy back and keep that momentum going when I step back into the office. So it's up to you to keep that energy going as we step into this new year, everybody. So have a blessed year. Please be safe. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Don't spend that quarter anywhere else.